Link in the description for the playlist. Go check those out because you might be lost watching this. However, if you just want to look at some hook mixing techniques that I use for this track, okay, that's cool. Now, also in the description is a link to the actual song so you can go hear the whole song in its entirety. So let's talk about this hook stuff. All right, so we're zoomed down. We can see that these are the hook vocals right here, all these right here. And basically all you do is to create your hooks is you need to make sure you have your tempo set and you have your snap on. And I use 1/64th adaptive. And I'm not going to go into that, but if I hit D on my keyboard, boom, and then I can fly out my hooks and then put them in time where I need them to be. This is all new copies, and they are saved when you save your session. I'm going to undo that. So I flew out my other hooks. But when I'm doing my processing, I don't fly those out yet. I first do all my processing on these first before I even start copying my hook. All right, so let's zoom in and check out this first hook over here so I can show you what happened. Here it is. I got set to mono because I'm going to talk about how I recorded it. Now, when I recorded it, I went View, Record Panel. I have Record Takes to Layers, and I'm going to talk about layers right now. I have that checked. Okay, I'm just going to uncheck it. Just know that that's checked and ready to go. And then I also have a loop point set. I just draw in a loop point, so I drew in a loop point, and then I turn looping on. And now when I hit the record button, what's going to happen is it's going to record, and it's going to jump back, and then I can record again, and it's going to jump back. I say the exact same thing or sing the exact same thing over and over. So that's what I did. Let me turn this off now. Turn off this looping, close that. Where are those layers at? Well, watch this. Expand layers. Now you can actually see all the times that I recorded it. Total in all, I recorded about 10 times me saying the exact same thing over and over on this one track. You can see right here I messed up where there's some vocals missing. So I was just like, I'll just wait for it to loop back around and I'll just start over. You know, there's no sense in me stopping the whole thing. I can just record over and over until I feel like stopping. So I'm going to close those layers. So that's how I recorded the hook. Once I recorded a whole bunch of times, I basically used a function in here where I can adopt it to the top, and then I can actually use it in a separate track. Alright, so let's talk about some routing. Just know that this track, and this track, which are my hook tracks, are all going to the hook bus right there. Let's go check that out. Boom, here's the hook bus. We'll talk about all the processing after we talk a little bit more about how this is working. This one's right down the center. This one's pan hard left, as you can see, and this one's pan hard right, as you can see. And this one I moved to stereo, and we're going to get to why that is. It's because of the harmony engine, and I wanted to pan my harmonies that it's creating that are fake. And if you notice in the lower left corner over here, it says effects. I may have said this already, but in the lower left corner, it's because there's some special processing happening on this. I'll go ahead and solo it, let you hear it.
I ain't gotta prove nothing ever to nobody.
I teach you on my Pitch Vox tutorial DVD how to get some of the smoothest auto-tune to where you can create the effect, but it's really smooth. Because a lot of people doing this auto-tune stuff, it sounds real warbly, it sounds all over the place, right? So I can't really unravel that and show you what I got going on as a combination of effects, because that wouldn't be fair to the people who purchased the Pitch Vox tutorial DVD. But just know that you can use your own correction method and get almost a similar effect. It just probably won't be as smooth as mine and as smooth as the people who know about it. Now, moving on. Over here on this one, I have the Auto-Tune EFX and the Auto-Tune EFX on this one. And as you can see, G-flat minor, set the soft EFX on both of them. And that's all I got going on these two. That's how these two are being corrected. And I also got the harmony engine. Let's talk about this harmony engine that's on here. And if I bring it up, I'm not going to go into in-depth because if you watch the last tutorial on the background vocals, you guys already know how I did all this. So, and how each strip works. So I'm just going to move on into it. As you can see, I got a higher harmony and a lower harmony going on here. And pretty much that's how I got set up. However, you notice when I turn on this stereo, I get my panners for each one of these copies of the vocal, and I'm going to turn it on.
I ain't gotta prove nothing ever to.
And I basically got two high harmonies, one pan to the left 100%, one pan to the right 100% with inside this plug-in, but you got to have it on stereo track. And then I have the two lower harmonies, and I brought those up to about -6. They're up a little bit more, and they create more of like a robotic feel. Basically, not really robotic, but it brings in the lower harmonies. And I'll let you hear those by themselves.
I ain't gotta prove.
Bring in the higher ones.
I ain't gotta prove.
Bring in the original.
I ain't gotta prove nothing.
And so all those.
I ain't gotta prove nothing.
Now, keep in mind that those are only affecting, and those harmonies are coming in on this one single track right here. I still got these ones coming in that are just regular auto-tuned versions that are coming in from the left and the right hard panned.
I ain't gotta prove nothing.
So the harmonies are kind of behind these two right here because these are panned hard left and right, just like the harmonies. So the harmonies on this track are actually working in unison with these over here to create a nice little harmony in the background. Now on the Pitchbox tutorial DVD, I go into this plugin in detail. I know everything about this, and we break everything up. I tell you what all parameters are and what they do and how to use them to the best of their advantage. Just not going to go into it real detail right now. All right, so let's go check out the bus that these vocals are going to. Now they're all going to this bus here, and let's check out the processing I got going on. So I got the EQ. Renaissance EQ first. Now, most of you are probably looking at this like, wow, man, that's a lot of low frequency removal. Why are you doing that? What's going on? Well, you shouldn't use your eyes. Of course, we're mixing, so you need to be using your ears. All right? But here's why. Let me go into this real quick. You see these three vocals? Once you stack vocals on top of each other, saying the exact same thing, the exact same way, if I'm doing an R&B track for someone and they have like 12 vocals stacked on top of each other, I might put EQ on each single track to get rid of a lot of the bass, to do my bass management, to lower frequencies, to remove them before I send them to the bus, because pretty much a lot of the stuff that I'm going to do on the bus might not have enough of an effect that I'm trying to do. But since there's only 3 coming here, there's still a lot of low frequency, but I was able to remove it with just this one plugin. Now, like I said, I got the high pass filter going up pretty high, as you see. I got some of the mud and stuff and the boxiness being removed around here. Right here, I got some of the presence that the auto-tune was creating. I got rid of that, and I put a high shelf on it. I really like the high shelf on this plugin. It sounds really good on the Renaissance equalizer. Up next is compression. As you can see, there's my attack, there's my release. We've already talked about this on my other tutorials about the RComp. Next up is this one, where I'm doing my notch filtering. If you haven't seen part 1 of this whole tutorial series, that's where I talk about notching. And the high pass filter, I decided to bring it in on this one just to get rid of some more of that low frequency stuff that was happening. And you can see all the notches that I chose of frequencies. When it comes to auto-tune, you're typically going to start doing a little bit more notching because it's got some offending frequencies that it creates. We got another, let's see what we got going on here. We got the de-esser next. Doing some de-essing.
I ain't gotta prove nothing, never to know.
So a lot of de-essing going on some parts there. Right after the de-esser, the Pro EQ again. Now, I probably could have done this in one of the other EQs, but I'm not sure if I ran out of bands or why I did this. But I did this after the de-essing because I noticed that there was this annoying frequency right around here that I just didn't like, so I got rid of it with that EQ. That's all that EQ is being used for. And then we got a little secret going on here with a doubler. All right, so let's see what this doubler is doing. I'm using it directly on the track. Whenever you do that, you need to make sure you have direct enabled. Now, if I'm using this as a send, and I see a lot of people doing this incorrectly online and on YouTube videos, they'll use it as a send effect, and they'll still have this direct enabled. When you're using these plugins, some of them by Waves, you want to make sure that if you're using it as a send, you have direct off. Since I'm using it directly on the bus, I'm going to have direct on. That's basically all the vocals coming right down the center. Now, what's going to do is it's using the Haas effect that we've already talked about in another tutorial, and it's creating 2 copies, one for the left and one for the right, that you can pan. And then you can also adjust the gain. You can set the delay. I have the delay for one at 8.3 milliseconds and the one on the right, let's say, at 21 milliseconds. And then I'm also detuning them. I'm detuning the left by 5 and the right by 5. And the depth, I'm not using the depth. If you want to create more of an effect, or if it doesn't seem like it's doing what you want it to do, you can add some depth to the modulation, which will actually modulate the detuning. And it'll set the detuning from 0 to 5. Basically, read the manual and it'll talk about it. I'm not doing any of that right here right now. I'm also adding some EQ on the top end. So basically, I got a little bit of EQ. You can't really see it. There's a little bump there. Not much to really worry about, of 0.7. And then I'm getting rid of a lot of lower frequencies again. Now, what this is doing is all these other vocals I have going on in the background that are panned hard left and hard right, plus I got these harmonies right here. Remember, the harmonies are panned hard left, hard right. And then I have these vocals here that are hard left, hard right. Well, when I go on the hook and I actually put this doubler, what's happening is it's taking everything, sending it through the doubler, creating copies of everything together, and it's putting them behind and on the side, but it's also detuning them. It adds a sense of thickness, a little bit more thickness that I needed, okay, for this effect to work. So that's what I'm using there, as you see.
I ain't gotta prove nothing.
Watch what happens when I take it away.
I ain't gotta prove nothing ever to nobody. I ain't about to move, and my vision's never cloud.
All right, so that's what we got going on with the doubler. Adds just a little bit of space around the vocals. Actually sounds like reverb's already been added. However, I did add just a touch more reverb from the hook reverb, which we already know about the hook reverb because we went over this hook reverb strip already in a previous tutorial. And I got the delay. You guys already know I'm using that same delay throughout this track. It's the H stereo delay. I'll just go ahead and bring it up right quick. There it is. Same settings as before. And that's what I got going on with the hook. All right, so let's move on to this rap sing portion. If you notice, these are going out to my rap sing bus, all three of these tracks. And they're following pretty much the same thing as the hook. They're kind of like a hook, but they're more of a bridge. And I didn't want to pan them out too much, so I got 50% to the left and 50% to the right on the left and the right ones. And this one's going right down the center. Of course, I recorded to a mono track, and I recorded to layers, as we've already talked about. And then I switched it to stereo because I got the Harmony engine on there. Here's what I got going on with the Harmony engine. I am doing some panning, and the panning is a little different for this vocal. I got the lower harmonies, they're an octave lower, panned 50% to the right and 50% to the left, and the higher ones are panned all the way out to the left and the right. So I am using the panning with this one because it's a stereo track. I switched it to stereo so I can use the actual panning. When I recorded it was mono, but like I said, in Studio One, you can switch it to a stereo track and add some stereo effects. So once again, pretty sure you guys already seen this before, but watch the panners. There they are. They're there. They're not there. They are there. There you go. So that's what I got going on with this top vocal up here. Let me play it by itself.
Sunshine in my life, watching clouds flow by. And some days in my mind I be doing.
So right now, by itself, it sounds like totally garbled. Well, it doesn't sound that great, right? But it's when I mix in these other ones.
Sunshine in my life, watching clouds flow by. And some days in my mind I be doing time.
All right. Once I add that Harmony engine in there, you got to listen to it, like I've said, in context of everything else. We already know about that. I've already talked about that. So again, in the lower left corner of all these, you notice it says effects. Again, that's something I can't really let you guys know about on YouTube because that's from my tutorial DVD. Just some effects that I got going on there to really smooth out that auto-tune. And I'm not using the auto-tuning effects, as you can see on these. So this is the only one. The top middle one has the actual, that's down the center, has the harmonies, and it's panning them out to the left and the right because I know that it's going to basically harmonize these two right here, which are me saying the exact same thing the exact same way as up here. So let me bring those in.
Sunshine in my life, watching clouds flow by. And some days in my mind I be doing time. Often wonder where the hell I'm going. Am I gonna make it? Am I holding all the right calls? Maybe I should bet them all.
So all that, once you mix in the instrumental,
sunshine in my life, watching clouds flow by. And some days in my mind I be doing time. Often wonder where the hell I'm going.
it mixes it in just nice. So that's why you want to always make sure you're doing it in context, as I've said a million times, with everything else. So let's go check out the actual bus that it's on, which is over here, Rap Sing. Let's check out the EQ. There we go. You guys see the EQ that's going on. Even more of a high shelf going on there. Getting rid of some of that auto-tuning type madness that causes a lot of resonance in that frequency region. And then got a high pass filter. Up next is the R-comp. You've seen the setting before. I use typically the same setting of attack and releases and stuff, or some things that are going to be the same. And that's what I'm using for the Rap Sing, because it's kind of like the hook, but it's really just a bridge. Next EQ up is this EQ right here, basically my notch frequencies, where I notched out some frequencies that I found offending from the auto-tune and such, and then my de-esser.
Sunshine in my life, watching clouds.
A lot of de-essing. A lot of de-essing because there's a lot of vocals together. Now, as far as de-essing, there's a lot of different de-essers, and I know I'm only showing you guys one de-esser because this isn't a mixing tutorial. On my actual mixing DVD, I go in all kinds of stuff, but you can actually just cut and like do manual de-essing if you wanted to and lower down your S's. I could go in here. It just takes too much time. I ain't got time to be fucking around with all that. There I go, dropping the F-bomb. Sorry if I offended anyone. Because I get some people saying, oh my God, you dropped the F-bomb and my kid was sitting right next to me. Like, okay, whatever, dude. But anyway, so we already know about the hook reverb because we've already seen that, so we don't have to cover that. So now a lot of this stuff is like, I don't really need to cover it because you guys already know about the hook reverb that I'm using. Here's the amount that I'm using.
Sunshine in my life, watching clouds flow. Sunshine, sunshine,
I'm messing with the wrong one. Thanks for telling me. Thanks for not letting me know, guys.
sunshine in my life, watching clouds flow by. Yeah, some days in my mind I'll be doing. Sunshine in my life, watching clouds flow by.
Hear all that lower frequency build up?
Sunshine in my life, watching clouds flow by. Yeah, some days in my mind I'll be doing. Sunshine in my life, watching clouds flow by. Yeah, some days in my mind I'll be doing time. Often wonder where the hell I'm going. Am I gonna make it? Am I holding all the right calls? Maybe I should bet them all. And if I throw them up, tell me how they gonna fall.
All right, so that's what we got going on with that rap sing part. I called it a rap sing because I'm rapping and singing at the same time. Let me guys know what you think about that in the you know, the comment section or whatever. So what do we got coming up next?